If you've ever wanted to cut shapes, merge objects, or create clean, complex models in Tinkercad, then learning Boolean operations is one of the most important skills you can pick up. In this video, I'm going to show you how to Boolean in Tinkercad in a simple, beginner-friendly way, so you can use addition, subtraction, and even create intersection-style results. By the end, you'll understand exactly how to combine shapes and carve them out cleanly for better 3D designs. And if this tutorial helps you out, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more easy Tinkercad guides. Let's jump in. First, let's understand what Boolean means in Tinkercad. In simple terms, Boolean operations are the way you combine or remove shapes from each other. The main thing Tinkercad uses for this is grouping. When you group shapes together, Tinkercad either merges them into one solid object or cuts holes out of them depending on how the shapes are set up. So the first Boolean action we'll look at is addition, also called union. Addition is when you merge two or more solid shapes into one single object. To do this, place your shapes onto the work plane. These can be boxes, cylinders, spheres, or any other solid shapes you want to combine. Then, select the shapes you want to merge. You can click and drag to highlight them, or hold Shift and click each one individually. Once they are selected, press Ctrl+G on your keyboard, or click the Group button at the top of the screen. Right away, Tinkercad will combine those shapes into one object. This is very useful when you want to build custom parts, create larger models, or make shapes that would be hard to design from scratch. For example, you might combine a box and a cylinder to create a new mechanical form, or merge several pieces into one smooth design. Now, let's move on to subtraction, which is the most common Boolean technique people use in Tinkercad. Subtraction is how you cut one shape out of another. This is done using a hole shape. Here's how it works. First, place a solid shape on the work plane. This will be the main object you want to cut into. Next, place another shape where you want the cut to happen, but this second shape must be set to hole. You can either drag in a hole shape directly from the shape panel or select a solid shape and change it to hole in the inspector window. Move the hole so it overlaps the solid exactly where you want the cavity to appear. When everything is lined up, select both the solid and the hole, then press Ctrl+G, or use the Group button. Tinkercad will subtract the hole from the solid, leaving a clean opening in the model. This is incredibly helpful if you want to make screw holes, cutouts, slots, channels, or decorative shapes in your design. The key thing to remember is that the hole has to overlap the solid before grouping. If it is not touching the solid, nothing will be removed. Also, if your cut looks wrong, you can always undo and reposition the hole before grouping again. That's why it helps to zoom in and align everything carefully. Now, let's talk about intersection. Tinkercad does not give you a direct intersection button like some advanced CAD programs, but you can still create a similar effect. Intersection means keeping only the part where two shapes overlap. One easy way to simulate this is to place two solid shapes so they overlap, then change one of them into a hole and group them. This will leave only the shared area or create a partial cut depending on how the shapes are arranged. Another option is to use the Intersect shape generator in the Shape Generators menu if available in your version or collection of shapes. This type of tool is designed to keep only the overlapping volume between objects. It's a great technique when you want more advanced custom geometry without needing complicated software. Here's a very useful pro tip when working with Booleans in Tinkercad. Always keep copies of your hole shapes before grouping. You can do this by selecting the hole and pressing Ctrl+D to duplicate it, then moving the duplicate to the side. That way, if you ever need to adjust the cut later, you won't have to ungroup your entire model and rebuild everything from scratch. This saves a lot of time, especially on more detailed projects. If you are using multiple holes, there is another smart workflow you can use. First, group all your hole shapes together into one hole group. Then place that hole group over your main solid and group the two together. This makes complex Boolean editing much easier because you can manage all your cuts as one unit. It also helps keep your design organized, especially when you're making enclosures, brackets, or custom parts with several openings. So to quickly recap, Boolean in Tinkercad is really about grouping shapes in the right way. Use solid shapes and group them for addition. Use holes and group them for subtraction. And use overlapping shapes or shape generators when you want an intersection-style result. Once you understand these basics, you can start building much more advanced models with confidence. If this tutorial helped you learn how to Boolean in Tinkercad, please hit the like button, subscribe for more beginner-friendly CAD tutorials, and let me know in the comments what you want to design next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.